All right, you guys, I am alive. Thank you to all of the internet sleuths who really understood that something was very wrong and I was not communicating as I normally do. I'll tell you why in a little bit. We have some major updates for you in the Baldoni lawsuit. Blake Lively wants to be dropped from it altogether. We'll get into her reasons why, because they are amazing. Also, Ari Emanuel, Mr. Baloney Baldoni, is no longer the CEO of WME Endeavor. So it looks like another one of Blake and Ryan's dragons is going down. He's been accidentally slayed. But much more interestingly, by the way, is the lawsuit that no one's talking about, which is waging between Stephanie Jones PR, that was Wayfarer's initial PR team throughout the movie, and Justin Baldoni plus his crisis PR team. I'll tell you why that one's super interesting because it's the crux of everything. Lastly, Jessica Reed Krause, House and Habit, randomly chooses violence, attacks me in a newsletter that went out over the weekend. A bunch of you emailed me about it. I will respond to that. So welcome back to Candace. All right, so on Friday, we took the day off from the show because it was a massive day for my family. My husband became a citizen of the United States, you guys. He was sworn in. Here is a picture of us in case you missed it. I did share this on Instagram and on X. It was a massive day, really, because it's been a 6-year-long journey. And I really just hope that it explains to so many people who don't understand perhaps where some of the anger comes from when it comes to people just crossing over the border. When there are families that have to go through this, it's a very expensive process, it's a long process, and it is an anxiety inducing process because you just are like, you never really feel safe having. We're on our fourth child here, and he's not a citizen, so he's not afforded the same protections that I'm afforded. And so when you get to that finish line, it is just a day of just glory. You were so happy. It was tremendous. Also, for those of you wondering what we did to celebrate, we did the most American thing you could possibly do. Here is a photo of my husband. We went to a phenomenal burger place called Hugh Babies. Sorry, RFK Jr. Maha will have to wait. He just dug into some bacon cheeseburgers and chili cheese fries. So there's my husband after being sworn in. And the judge was so sweet. She gave such a wonderful little speech about what it meant for her family, like when they came over on the Mayflower and what it really means to be an American. So I just wanted to share that update with you guys a little bit more formally here on the show. And then here's what happened. Okay, so Friday, some of you sleuths were correct. We had put the link up for our show, which is the show that we're doing today, and then magically it got taken down. So I will tell you what happened. Literally, this is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I had not eaten. I went to the fridge and I got a Faye yogurt. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I don't speak Greek, okay? But I grabbed a Faye yogurt, a strawberry one. I ate it, and within 15 minutes, my stomach blew out to here. It got really hard as if I was going into labor. And I looked at my team and I said, I am going to be sick, and did not come back for 48 hours. I mean, I have never been so sick in my life. I don't know if it was lactose intolerance. I'm a little sensitive. I don't know if it was just a bad yogurt. It certainly was not expired. But I can tell you that I was hoping that my affairs were in order. And that is the reason why I love that you internet sleuths were like, usually when she's not going to do the show, she announces. I couldn't even look at my phone. I was completely delirious. I could not do anything. I certainly did not authorize the email that went out and said, we'll do the book club the next day. No, we cannot do the book club today. I still need sleep and rehabilitation. This is the first day that I have been able to eat anything in the last 48 hours. And I'm sure you guys understand the angst that comes with that when you are 9 months pregnant, as I am, because then I was worried because I'm going, my kid is not able to eat for 48 hours because I can't eat. Doctor recommended that I get an IV. I did that this morning, but I still cannot exactly eat right now. So that is the circumstance. I probably look a little bit smaller. I think I look a little less pregnant today because I have lost everything in the last 48 hours. But I loved the moms that were like, did the Mossad do it? people were even questioning Savannah. Good. That's what you should do. Because I don't know, maybe the Mossad did get into my yogurt. I'm not positive. I'm now reading the conspiracy theories that were floating while I was gone, and I'm with you guys. And that is why I love people that listen to this show, because they will not get away with it. If somebody takes me out, let me tell you, the mommy sleuths will be on it. They even knew my personality. They were like, she always posts something when she doesn't do a show. She posted nothing on X. So you're not, Mossad, don't go crazy. You are not smarter than sleuths on the internet. And shout out to those of you who harassed Savannah's personal Instagram account looking for answers, as you should. I know Savannah's been with me for 4 years, but we don't know. We don't know if we can trust her. She's like Tennessee Mafia, you know what I mean? Anyways, I wanted to get into this before I accidentally went away. Look, first and foremost, this is the Hollywood scandal that just will not stop giving. I admit fully that I am obsessed with the Blake Baldoni case. I can't deny my obsession, because it's like we're watching an episode of Succession on HBO, except it's based on real life human beings who believe that they can just behave however they want because they're Hollywood stars. And so we have to start with this. This was brought to my attention. Full credit to Steph with the deets. I'm actually kind of mad at her for putting this on my radar, so I'm giving her credit, but also want to say, Steph with the deets, this was a deet that I did not need, okay? This was a deet that I did not need. And so when this came across, I was like, ooh, girl, I wish I did not know this, but she does amazing work, and you should follow her on TikTok if you want these deep dives and all these little tidbits that she's getting on the case. So I did know, because I had looked into, obviously very deeply looked into the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I did know that Ryan had cast his 7-year-old daughter, Inez, which is Taylor Swift's goddaughter, in the Deadpool movie. Okay, cute. She's 7. She's ready to be in a film. Maybe this wouldn't be the film of choice for me from a Christian household, but to each their own. And I did know that the daughter, the kid pool, has a potty mouth, which makes sense given the character of Deadpool. You're expecting the kid to have, I guess, a potty mouth, and that's supposed to be funny. I was aware that the kid said some highly inappropriate things, but I had assumed that the kid was in the costume and they likely used either a voice actor or an AI voice tool to say some of those things, because absolutely no person, I don't care how funny you think you are in Hollywood, would want their precious daughter, of all people, to make comments about Hugh Jackman's penis being in their father's mouth. Okay. I just assumed, like, this is not something that you have to investigate any further, because there is no father in his right mind who would want a scene in which his daughter makes a, I guess, homosexual joke about the relationship between him and this Wolverine character, who we're starting to have questions about their relationship in real life. Well, it turns out that I was wrong. I was very wrong on this. And also, he admits in one of these like post-Deadpool interviews that not only did he force her to say it, but that she was not comfortable with the line. And essentially, she wasn't going to do it. And then he was like, I'll just find a different actor. And that's what he says. So he kind of basically forced his daughter to do the line, or else he's going to replace her as an actress in this movie. She's 7 years old, you guys. Take a listen to Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy laughing about this after the movie came out.
With you. When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's out of your mouth.
That's kid.
Guiltily, that is my daughter, Inez.
I'm so sorry we have to admit that.
And I am Father of the Year over here for allowing her to say such language, which, to her credit, she really didn't want to say, and then came back later and said, I want to say it now, when I started looking at other people to play it.
Yeah, but Ryan, to our discredit, we made Nezzy do I'm not you 70 to 500 versions of that line.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for that later.
Yep, I think right about now is when you're going to pay for it, because that is just unbelievable. He is admitting that she was not, Nezzy, as she is called, was not comfortable doing this line. And Ryan essentially said to her that I'm going to find another actor, which is pointedly ridiculous, by the way. That is literally him just emotionally conditioning her to say, like, if you want it, you're just going to have to do it. Because as I said, there are AI tools. You could literally take my voice and make me say something. And it's one of the big problems now. It's actually one of these Hollywood concerns, is that now you can literally just use AI tools and create a fake Brad Pitt with the real Brad Pitt voice if you want to. And that's why actors are fighting back against AI as it is. But rather than just using an AI tool for his daughter or using a voice actor for her to say that line that she was uncomfortable saying, he basically says, oh, well, I started looking at different actors and actresses. And then that's when she said, I do want to do it. Wildly manipulative to do to a 7-year-old kid. But what's really stunning about this is think about what he is saying there and the arguments that Blake is making and that he is making in the CRD complaints against Justin Baldoni. Like, it is just stunning to me what they view as harassment, what they view as, forcing someone to do something, an extra gratuitous that wasn't in the initial script, and what they're perfectly fine with. And you add this to the fact that he slapped a child extra gratuitously, that all he believes is riffing. Now you're hearing from the director of his film that they made the 7-year-old do this line from 70 to 500 times as a discredit to us. And yeah. And they're turning it into a joke. And they want us to believe that Justin Baldoni is the creep in all of this. This is running parallel to him shouting at Justin Baldoni in a penthouse about his wife being uncomfortable. He's basically looking at his 7-year-old and being like, well, if you're not going to have what it takes to read this line, which happens to be about, Wolverine's penis, then I'll just go find another actor. Total sicko, the exact opposite, in my viewpoint, of a fatherly instinct to protect your child, to protect your child's innocence, motherly instinct to protect your child's innocence. I would never allow this to fly because it's not necessary. Okay, you could have used an AI voice. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, in other news, we know their big defender, Ari Emanuel, was the WME guy who proudly, and I think really kind of cinched the deal when it comes to proving that Justin Baldoni suffered real life harm, because this guy decided in his bold CEO demeanor to get up on stage and in the Freakonomics podcast, which they never released, they said they had tech issues, but we were able to get the audio, admitted that he fired Justin Baldoni because he could, and he was made fun of him. Baldoni, Baloney, whatever his name is, I'm loyal. And I'm loyal to Blake Lively, and I'm loyal to Ryan Reynolds. And so I just bossed it and fired him for no reason. By the way, never good to have a CEO that's just acting because he can, right? I'm powerful and I can. Okay, is what you're doing, is it fair? Does it make sense? Is it good for the company? No, it's none of those things, but I'm powerful and I'm Ari Emanuel. My brother's Rahm Emanuel, and he bankrupted Chicago, and we've been acting like gangsters. And so we're just going to fire Justin Baldoni. Well, he did that. And now it looks like he's being pushed out of Endeavor. Check out this article. He has now ceded his role. Endeavor is WME. They house the UFC, everything, as the CEO after Silver Lake, which is a massive private equity firm, completed a takeover. And this was a $25 billion takeover of Endeavor in a deal that now shifts power to Silver Lake. And they decided that as a part of this deal, Ari Emanuel would have to cede operational control at the talent agency that helped to shape modern Hollywood. So they wanted this guy out as a condition of them doing this $25 billion deal. He now will still be chairing, so he will obviously have some capacity of power still, sitting as a chairperson of WME Group, but it's a big thing. It's interesting that they did not want him to be the CEO. Now they are moving a guy named Mark Shapiro into the role of CEO. He's going to see day-to-day operations. And it's, like I said, not a quiet thing. It's something that will have Hollywood buzzing because he was the most powerful person in Hollywood. Another reason why I believe that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively felt so confident in everything that they were doing, because they had this guy behind him and they knew that he would just fire someone on a whim or on an allegation, and he did do that, which again, all these people are just flying way too close to the sun. But we have to get into Blake Lively filing to be dismissed from the Justin Baldoni defamation lawsuit. Now, as I said with Ryan's filing, this is to be expected. It is not atypical. The first move you're going to make in any lawsuit is to try to get a judge to see your side and go, this isn't even worth the time of the court. This is all a nonsense. Please dismiss it. So Blake has expectedly filed to be dismissed from the lawsuit against her. Her argument that she is presenting is that the lawsuit in and of itself is illegal okay? Because the matter at hand is pertaining to sexual harassment, which therefore provides her certain protections under the law. And one of those protections, and I want to be clear, she is correct here, is that an employer cannot retaliate. I'm going to explain to you why she is partially correct here. She is partially correct that under a traditional setting, if you are working for a company, like let's say you work for Candace Owens and Candace Owens Incorporated, and you obviously are not going to come to me to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against me. So they have this option for you to be able to go to the civil rights department of your state, which is what she did, the CRD complaint. And you can then file for race discrimination, sexual harassment. And when you do that, the moment that you do that, the law dictates that that company cannot do anything to retaliate against you. So if I find out that you filed this against me, I can't then fire you. It's basically like a freeze. You just can't be fired for that. So she's making that argument, but she's forgetting that there is one key difference here, and it's that she Amber Hearded it. You are not protected to then go outside of the court and to collude with the New York Times to completely destroy the reputation and the character of your boss and your boss's company by giving them text messages and personal emails between PR agents. Like, that is what fundamentally changed the substance of the argument from an employee dispute, which is protected by CRD, protected by civil rights, to a defamation case. Now we are dealing with something entirely different. And I wanted to bring to your attention two main points that she raised in her dismissal filing that I just thought were very funny. So they are disputing that Justin Baldoni's team can prove actual malice, that they can reach that critical actual malice standard, which is hard to reach when you're dealing with A-listers and public figures. They're saying that they can't prove that because even Baldoni's team acknowledges in their initial filed complaint that Blake actually believed what she was saying. So they point to that here. I'll show you this at the bottom of pages 2 to 3. It says, yet another of the FAC's insurmountable deficiencies is its utter failure to allege actual malice. For example, that Ms. Lively subjectively did not believe the sexual harassment allegations she raised. Other than many pages of empty bluster, the FAC not only fails to allege actual malice, it citations, page numbers, okay? I think my thing here for some reason got lost. Among other things, the FAC incorporates by reference a damning text message between Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Nathan, in which both agree that Mr. Lively genuinely believes that she's right and that all of this is unjust. So what they're doing here is they're completely conflating two arguments. They don't think that the judge is going to be able to see through this. Yes, I want to be clear. We all, meaning the entire world, actually believe that Blake Lively did not actually believe that people didn't like her. In other words, when there was all this bad press about her, I believe, and I think most of the world believes, that she genuinely believed that this had to be the work of a smear campaign, okay? That's because she is full of herself, she's narcissistic, and I think she's low IQ. All of that is fine. And like I said, therefore, she probably did suspect that there was some sort of a coordinated campaign. But in retaliation of what she supposed was a campaign, she lied about the sexual harassment. That is my viewpoint, and a viewpoint that I think is shared by many. We don't believe that she actually believed for a single second that she was a victim of sexual harassment. No, I don't believe for a single second she thought that Justin Baldoni was creeping on her or was trying to hit on her. I don't believe any of that part. And that's where we are getting into the defamation. You intentionally presented him as a predator, a sexual predator, and a creep to the public. And that is what rose to the level of defamation. With not the part about you being dumb enough to just think that you're too wonderful and that people really were going to like you talking about florals, and that any person that didn't like it was obviously being advised by his PR team. So they're just trying to conflate there to get out of this lawsuit, and that's not going to work. But their next argument is even more absurd. I found this to be incredible. It's amazing. We should go over this. They're saying that the reason that the lawsuit should be dropped is because Blake Lively technically didn't lie. Okay, look at page 5 of this lawsuit. This is rich. So they're saying that nothing she said was untrue. It just lacked context, right? They're like, actually, you admit that all the things we said were true. We just didn't give anybody any context. So, like, here's one example. At some point in May, they simulated nude scenes that were filmed without an intimacy coordinator present. Okay, we concede that, but they didn't give us the context that she declined to meet with the intimacy coordinator and said she didn't need one. That's very relevant context. Their argument here is that you can't lie by omission. And like, yes, you can lie by omission. They're like, you admit that she came into the trailer, that Justin Baldoni came into the trailer. We didn't lie. He did barge into the trailer. Oh, we just left out the part where she texted him and told him to barge into the trailer. So we're not liars. We just left out the most critical pieces of this. So obviously, this lawsuit should be dismissed because we believe in lies by omission. And all we did was omit the full context, which Brian Friedman then provided with an entire webpage. But that's no reason not to dismiss us, because we did tell the truth, and you admitted that we were actually telling the truth when we were lying by omission. Like number 3, Mr. Baldoni asked Mr. Heath to show Miss Lively a video of Mr. Heath's wife giving birth at home, part of which Mr. Heath subsequently showed her. Okay, yeah, it was kind of important. You left the part out that it was a video of his wife giving birth and instead said that you thought that he was showing you pornography. I mean, these are kind of big details. I don't think the judge is going to look at this and be like, yeah, lies by omission don't count. Like, lies by omission count so much that it's pretty obvious that you smeared and you libeled him, and you did it intentionally by showing these partial truths. So we'll keep an eye on this. I'm getting the feeling that nobody's being dismissed from this lawsuit. But like I said, it is a valiant effort for them to try to be dismissed from it. But most critically, I want to tell you guys this. I know I'm going to get into like this house and habit stuff, and I got tons of stuff that I want to get to today. I could actually go on for 3 hours, but I won't do that. Don't forget the Stephanie Jones PR lawsuit that is happening. I think it's actually the most important piece of this entire pie, because don't forget it was her, Stephanie Jones, who purportedly gave Blake and Ryan all of that ammo to try to assassinate the character of Justin Baldoni and take down Wayfarer. That was how they got the emails and the text messages. And this is now going, it's kind of heating up in the courtroom. As a refresher, who is Stephanie Jones? Okay, Stephanie Jones was the It PR girl in Hollywood. She runs Stephanie Jones PR. She has run that for about a decade, and she really is your stereotypical early 2000s devil wears Prada type, I just drink coffee and take Adderall and don't eat, I don't need food to survive type woman. You know, the early 2000s Rachel Zoe, Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie prototype, people, you know, who call the paparazzi when people recognize that they don't eat. They call the paparazzi and they share a slice of cake to dispel the rumors that they have an eating disorder. That's kind of like the Stephanie Jones prototype, I would say. So it's known in Hollywood, just like you don't cross Ari Emanuel, you don't cross Steph. You don't cross Steph at all in Hollywood, because Steph will ruin you. She will destroy you. So she has, or I should say she had, we'll get to that in a little bit, an A-list clientele book. Her firm repped everyone from Dwayne Johnson to Tom Brady to Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez. I mean, the tippity top, right? And beneath her, just to bring up that chart, because this is very important, was Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel was working at Stephanie Jones Work PR, it's Jones Work PR, and they had Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer students, as their client. And they were very happy to have them as a client. Now, to be clear, Stephanie Jones did not work with this account directly because she only handled the big accounts. She's hanging out with Jeff Bezos. She's hanging out with Lauren Sanchez. She would send the smaller accounts down to people like Jennifer Abel. And she sent the Wayfarer account down to Jennifer Abel. And when I say smaller accounts, I mean that according to the lawsuits, they were paying $20,000 a month to be repped by Jones Work PR. Like, I need to get into PR work. This is amazing. $20,000 a month as a small account, but they weren't A-list enough for Stephanie to personally manage them. And so to remind you of just how powerful Steph is, she's doubly powerful because she's also married into power. Her husband, just to show you, this is Jason Hodes. He is a senior partner at WME who reps Tom Brady. So if you angered Steph in any capacity, you could potentially lose any opportunity to work with the biggest artist agency in the world. That's why another reason nobody messed with her. Well, in May of 2024, last year, so in the months leading up to the It Ends With Us premiere, Stephanie Jones actually began going through a PR crisis of her own because Puck News and Business Insider reported that her A-list clients were beginning to walk due to her erratic behavior. She lost Dwayne Johnson. She lost Lauren Sanchez. They both dropped her. Also, there was a website that came together and an anonymous Twitter feed that was clearly put together by a former employee, disgruntled employees, about her treatment of them over the years. Because like I said, she's early 2000s Devil Wears Prada type. So she was quite mean and kind of took pride in that. And what was running at the same time was that Jennifer Abel, who was handling the Wayfarer account, tendered her resignation on July 10th. And she gave Stephanie 6 weeks. She was scheduled to leave on in early August, on August 23rd. But then 2 days before she was supposed to leave, Stephanie Jones calls her into her office. Okay. She says, okay, Jennifer, I know you're supposed to leave in 2 days. Your 6 weeks is almost up, but surprise, I'm forcing you to hand over your phone. She had security present. She had this is according to the lawsuit, a forensic data extraction technical expert present. She had an attorney, and she had the PR firm's chief of staff who flew in unannounced from New York for the occasion. So you imagine you're leaving a job. People are crazy. Just let people leave a job, you know? But I think Steph's a little paranoid because she's losing her clients. Articles are being written about her, and she just wants to, maybe she thinks Jennifer Abel's behind it all. And so she gets all of this stuff, and that is how she then handed it over, I'm guessing, to Leslie Sloan PR, who reps Blake and Ryan. And that is how they received these communications that would eventually be doctored for that New York Times piece. So she's very crucial to this. And it's also being a lot of rumblings is that she's also just recently lost Tom Brady as a client, that it hasn't yet, they're working on like an exit strategy. I don't know if it's true, but there are rumblings that Tom Brady's on his way out too. And a lot of this is going to come out via this lawsuit. But I would watch the Stephanie PR one because she might be the linchpin to how all of this went down. Anyways, she believes they secretly conspired to undermine her reputation. And honestly, at the core of all of these lawsuits is just tremendous Hollywood ego. It's just so much Hollywood ego that is happening. And I feel like 2025 is the year where all of these egotistical maniacs are just being outed for what they are. Like, that world is sort of dying, and it's just glorious to watch. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to talk to you about Preborn like I always do because I love them. Preborn is such an important organization to support. If you think about what Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, and Justin Bieber and Tim Tebow all have in common, it's that all of their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies and chose not to. Because when a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, often she is pressured by people around her to end the child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her tell her the baby is not yet a life, and that's where the ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and their network of clinics offer compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support that they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound, because once a mother hears her child's heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to join forces with Preborn. Together, we can empower women to choose life. Empowering the truth of motherhood transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28, and $140 will help you rescue 5 babies. And when you donate monthly, you'll receive the stories and the pictures of the lives that you help to save. It means a lot. Donate, you just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can donate securely at preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. Also remind you guys about Pure Talk, because if there are 2 things in life that are certain, it would be death and taxes. Well, now there is a third certainty, which is that if you are with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you could be saving a fortune every month by simply switching to Pure Talk. Pure Talk, which is my cell phone company, is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can even keep your phone and your phone number right now if you go to puretalk.com/Owens to make the switch. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Owens to start saving today. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans. Okay. Let's get into House and Habit because this was just weird. The whole thing was weird. And I'm just going to tell you guys everything because I just, like I said, we are just in the era of truth. That's what I would say. We're in the era of truth. And I just feel like people knowing more is better than people knowing less in the public. And I can do that also now because I work for myself and my husband, and I don't have to run these things through anyone. But so I don't know if you follow, House and Habit has been a Substack, a mom blogger, so to speak. People really love her. I've liked her stuff. I followed House and Habit. Her real name is Jessica Reed Krause. And I have had a very nice relationship with her in the background. I think I literally did an entire podcast with her in January. And it was super productive. We were talking about how moms are kind of entering the space and how the media is changing. You can literally go listen to how friendly and productive and kind this was. And then afterwards, my PR person was like, she'd like to do more with you. And I was like, great, I would love that. That would be amazing because, moms kind of coming together and having all these independent voices is a good thing. So imagine my surprise. This is the exact order of events of what happened. My PR person says, as I'm doing the Harvey series, House and Habit, Jessica Reed reached out and she knows Jessica Mann, who is one of the women who put Harvey Weinstein in prison, and that Jessica Mann wanted to reach out to you via her. I'm like, okay, great. That sounds excellent because I would obviously, if she wanted to talk about the case from her side, I have obviously told people my opinion about her. I have read her emails. We are not done looking at her emails. I believe that Harvey Weinstein was wrongly convicted of rape, and he was convicted of rape for 3 years by this person, okay? By Jessica Mann. So obviously I'm like, great, definitely go out. Like, she's in LA, go see her. He gets there, and quite to his surprise, House and Habit tells him that somebody beneath her on her Substack is working on a hit piece on me. I'm like, what? Not even just me, my husband, which is even crazier, because what does my husband do other than involve himself like entirely with the Catholic Church? And the angle that they're taking, that her editor or writer is taking, is like trying to like pretend there's something more between my husband and Andrew Tate, which just happens to be the narrative that everyone has been taking over the last week in attacks against me, Tucker, and Andrew Tate. Everyone's been doing it at the same time. It is so clearly not organic to me. But I just said to him what I always say, let her run it, because it's a lie, and lies just never land. And in the end, they do nothing but destroy your own reputation. And my husband maybe hung out with Andrew Tate 5 times before he and I met. I have seen Andrew Tate 4 times in my life. I think 1, 2, 3 of them you have all seen because they've been on camera. And 1 time I could say off camera. Okay, maybe twice off camera, maybe 5 times. We're talking about 9 times in total, and trying to pretend or create a conspiracy there is just nonsense. I just don't care. I'm too pregnant. I said, let her run the piece. I don't care. I have no rebuttal. I don't care, Anyways, she ended up instead writing what is remarkably to me, and I don't know if this is just like a woman thing, but just such a petty piece in a newsletter, taking a stab at me and Megyn Kelly, and essentially literally spelling out that we're trying to be her, pretending that us conservatives getting into the Baldoni case is a brand flip. And it's the exact opposite. Conservatives were the first ones who said that the Me Too movement had issues. Okay. We were first. If you go back, we were the first ones who said we don't believe in the Me Too movement, and that we cannot just accept a woman's allegations at face value. And for that reason, I have defended men over and over again and insisted that people actually read through the court transcripts and not just believe in the hype of what some woman is saying. And then the Amber Heard case happened. And I think a lot of people who would have hashtagged Me Too kind of came to their senses and realized, wait a minute, we can't just rely on emotions. We have to rely on the facts. I have been investigating things the BLM thing was a deep investigation where I was getting into the records of Patrisse Cullors and the founders and saying, where is this money going? I did the Making a Murderer series, convicting a murderer, to show that Netflix wrongly made people believe that Stephen Avery was innocent when he was not innocent. I did the Kamala Chronicles. And what she doesn't mention in this newsletter is that the biggest thing I've done this year has actually not been Justin Baldoni, but rather Becoming Brigitte has gotten many millions of views. So I'm just going, what is this line of attack about? I mean, we should realize this is what she wrote in her newsletter, by the way. She wrote, so many talking heads have shifted course, okay, by leaning harder into gossip and scandal. And other outlets notoriously defined by it are now mirroring my signature stylistic preferences outright. Years ago, I started pairing lowbrow clips about culture with Mozart's symphonies. Back then, it was a unique concoction that humored me. Now that pairing is used everywhere, most frequently by the Daily Mail to hook scrolling interests. Like, it's a newsletter to say that everybody is copying me. I can guarantee you, I did not know anything about your style, the things that you covered, what you were writing about. I don't understand why this random attack came on me and Megyn Kelly. It just reads like women unable to play in a sandbox with one another. And that is just, I am so tired of that. I am 35 years old. I have my 4th child on the way. I promise you my interest in this is because I have been interested in every Me Too case since it has come out. I covered the Amber Heard case extensively. If you didn't watch that, that's fine. I was with the Daily Wire. Maybe they didn't, promote it enough. Who knows? But to pretend that conservatives just got into Me Too court cases is just pointedly ridiculous. Or to pretend that we got interested in it because we wanted to copy you, that reads like a massive insecurity. And I think it's just embarrassing, truly, because there was no reason to do it. It's just like a perfect act of violence. And I wanted to show this when weighed against how men who have been watching my series have just been sort of celebrating it and being like, these different series are very interesting and super compelling, and here's why. So this is Joe Rogan speaking about 2 series that I'm working on right now, the biggest podcaster in the world. And no, he's not about to say she's copying my style. Take a listen.
The JFK stuff kind of just confirmed what kind of they label conspiracy theorists. Like, yeah, we've said it was CIA, Mossad.
It's going to take a while for the nerds to really go through it.
Candace Owens been through it. I bet.
Has she been through it?
I would assume.
She's too busy with the Macron thing. I watched 2 hours of that today.
Me too. Have you seen her?
Macron's a man. Yeah, Bridget Macron's a man.
She got you.
Yeah, she got me. Candace got me. She got me hook, line, sinker. Dude, I was eating breakfast today.
Yeah, I do the same shit.
I was eating elk steaks, watching Candace Owens on my YouTube.
I love her. Did you see?
Like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Have you dived into her Harvey Weinstein?
I watched the first episode of that.
Bro.
Crazy. It's crazy. So you can't believe I'm on Harvey Weinstein's side.
Right?
Crazy. Like, I thought he was, like, guilty of, like, heinous crimes. And then you listen to it and you're like, wait, what? What is going on?
When they go through the actual affidavit and, like, what the girls accuse him for, you're like, what the f***?
So the emails back and forth with the girl. Yeah, she was talking about his testicles. He doesn't have them.
And I would also now like to make you guys aware, because this is something that she's not sharing, because people then emailed me and told me that she's intentionally trying to get people not to watch the Harvey series. She has a relationship with Jessica Mann. And so it's very disingenuous to speak about that case and to say, oh, I couldn't be interested in this again. I covered it extensively. And not to also tell your audiences, Jessica Reed Krause, that you lived with Jessica Mann throughout the trial. You lived with her for a couple of weeks throughout the trial. You guys are still friends. You follow her on Instagram. You're repping her to some capacity by reaching out to me. This is Jessica Mann's, the correct Jessica Mann's Instagram. And she follows House and Habit, and House and Habit follows her. And they have a relationship. So it is not authentic, moms, that she is telling you not to get into this series or pretending that she's too bored and couldn't care about it. To me, it feels like she's doing PR for somebody that she has a personal relationship with. And I think it's crappy. I think it's dishonest. And it is especially crappy when you have someone who's done nothing but support you. I swear it was last week when I was promoting something that House and Habit did, and only discovered that she's like planning an attack on me and my husband for absolutely no reason other than the fact that it's Tuesday. And I don't trust that she also went after Tucker Carlson in the same week that everybody is going after Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. And I just wonder what specifically is motivating that, or who specifically is motivating that. Is she being paid by someone to do that, to go after, because she tries to make it sound like Tucker's being funded by the Middle East and, you know, Candace Owens is trying to change up her brand. Absolutely no one who has watched my stuff thinks that I'm trying to change my brand. I do think for the first time we have fractured trust in the mainstream media, and people that weren't normally listening to me because they thought that I was just some like Trump, you know, worshiping person who hates Black people which is crazy, but they did a very good job of creating, the media did a very good job of creating that caricature of me. And it usually just takes one thing that you have in common with someone or something that you're interested in. And if you listen to them by yourself and you don't listen to them through the lens of the mainstream media, you go, oh, actually, that wasn't what I was expecting. I kind of believed the mainstream media about this person, and now I don't. And Andrew Schultz, another person who has credited my work, who also happens to be a guy, guys seem to be a lot friendlier, said the same thing. He said the exact same thing on Theo Von's podcast recently. Here's what he had to say.
The Candace Baldoni stuff, I don't know if you were following that at all.
I didn't get into that. I don't get into a lot of the celebrity lore.
The only reason why it's interesting to me is that, like Candace has like been positioned in a way on the internet, right? Like, and she existed there and people had her opinions on her and like everybody was stuck. They're like, that's this girl and bad. No. We don't listen to her at all. And she started talking about that Baldoni Blake Lively thing. And even my wife was hitting me like, have you heard this Candace Owens girl talking about? I mean, she just exposes the whole thing. Like, it's crazy how like social utility frames how people see you. So you could be a bad guy, and then you start talking in depth about something that people care about. And then all of a sudden, while you're talking about that, you're a good guy.
Right.
You're a hero.
That's interesting.
Like, what does that say about us?
I feel like that's a much more thoughtful analysis on what happens. Like, what does it actually say about us that we are unwilling to listen to somebody until we find something that we agree with them on? But again, that's a male analysis. I feel like women just cannot play in the sandpit together. And again, I promise you, I was not. I didn't even know what your style was. I am sorry that you felt that way, Jessica, and I bid you tons of luck in the future, but I'm going to continue to cover this case because I'm just interested in it. I hope that's okay. But at the same time, by the way, these exact same headlines came out at the same time that she sent this newsletter. Here was the bulwark: the shocking reemergence of Candace Owens, banished to the political wilderness over anti-Semitic remarks. That's just not true. My show, since we have been back, has been successful. The Wall Street Journal literally just produced a piece and said that in Q4 of last year, we were the third most listened to podcast. My show came back in June. I was off air for like 2 months. I just don't understand like why everyone's pretending like I've reemerged. It's so weird. And similarly, MSNBC also attacked me and Megyn Kelly, how right-wing influencers are exploiting the Justin Baldoni-Blake Lively feud, again, ignoring the fact that my biggest audience is watching the Brigitte Macron series right now. And the Kamala Chronicles, which they all just tried to ignore. And so I think what it is people don't want to admit that cancel culture has failed. That's what's actually failed here. Cancel culture has failed, and the media doesn't know what to do with the fact that despite their hideous attacks on people's character and their lies about people, that people are now getting around them and deciding what they want to listen to. And so I'm going to continue to cover the things I love because I've always covered the things that I've loved. And I just have always sat at the intersection of politics and culture. So I do a Brigitte series, a Kamala series, a Blake and Baldoni series. It's who I am. And some people don't want to be here for that, and that's fine. But I suggest, by the way, if you're watching, you get into the Jessica Mann, Harvey Weinstein case because it's absolutely fascinating, and he's about to be back into court on April 15th. We will definitely have that for you. I will be jumping back into the JFK stuff because I kind of left you guys in a cliffhanger last Thursday. We didn't even scratch the surface. We actually didn't even talk about any of the JFK files. We just talked about Reuven Shiloah, or maybe it's Shiloh. Who knows? It's a made-up last name. It's not his real last name. Doesn't really matter. But then someone pointed out to me that his real last name is Zelensky. And I fell down a hole. Guys. Okay, because I've had a lot of questions about President Zelensky and where this guy comes from and his shady background. And now I don't know. I'm just telling you what one of you guys emailed me and what I have been looking at since. It is crazy. Okay, there's a lot. What we uncovered last Thursday was a lot. And my brain is going everywhere because I got to cover Harvey Weinstein. I got to cover this now. I got JFK files. I still got this lawsuit that I'm convinced I'm in, but I'm not in, with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and everybody. It's a lot. It is very hard being me, okay? But somebody's got to do it. So we'll have more for you on the Reuven Zelensky with an A, Zelensky. Yeah, I'm having trouble locating who his father is. They say he was a big rabbi, but for whatever reason, when I type in that rabbi's name, it's not coming up. They say he wrote tons of books, but for whatever reason, when I type in Reuven Shiloah's dad, Zelensky's name. It's not coming up. So we need to research this, guys. If you guys who watched the JFK episode last Thursday, you know what I'm talking about. We got to figure out who or what other names they went by. Because my feeling is that these people had multiple names and identities, different names in America than they used in Israel, different names than they used when they were in Eastern Europe. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it until further disproven. Anyways, I want to get to some of your guys' comments. First, want to throw it to Home Title Lock because there's a serious scam going on right now. People can literally just steal your home right out from under you. The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam that targets American homeowners. Here's how it works. Basically, criminals forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee, and then they file it with your local recorder's office. And just like that, your home title has been completely transferred out of your name. So let me ask you, when was the last time that you even checked your home title? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. And that's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. With Home Title Lock, you get immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud should happen, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. And the best part is I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so that you can find out if you're already a victim and access your personal title expert. That is a $250 value just for signing up. So go to HomeTitleLock.com. You can use my promo code Candace250 or click on the link in the description. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Candace250 to get the protection and peace of mind that you deserve. Also, American Financing. I don't know your exact situation, but if you're like thousands of homeowners American Financing talks to every month, then you might be struggling to keep up, barely making ends meet, drowning in high interest debt, and it's not your fault. Life really did get more expensive. Inflation hit people very hard. If you're still carrying credit card balances with 20% plus interest rates while your mortgage sits untouched, then you are ignoring the one thing that could help turn it all around, which is your home. And this is where American Financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes of your time for a shot at saving an average of $800 every single month? Because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple no-obligation call could change everything for you. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make sense, and there are no upfront fees to find out how much you could be saving. So don't wait. Talk to American Financing today and start feeling that relief. You just call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. That's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. All right, let's hear what you guys are saying. First and foremost, reminding you, Shot in the Dark, another episode just came out. This one is on the hepatitis A vaccine. So you can head to CandaceOwens.com and watch that if you are a member. Yeah, let's get into some of your comments to see what you guys are saying. A lot going on, and I haven't even barely scratched the surface. Brooke says, so glad you're alive. Comedian Christina P. recently shouted you out on the Your Mom's House podcast regarding becoming Brigitte. Would you ever go on their podcast to discuss? Yes, I want to say this. They actually reached out and we want to make it happen. They wanted us initially to come down. They're based in Texas. And I was just like, ooh, end of pregnancy. I'm trying to limit travel. So I'm really just doing this. I have one LA trip that I have coming up and then that's it. I really should be doing no more trips, but I guess I'm a crazy person. But I am going to make it work with them. Just want to say that publicly. Absolutely, we'll be doing Your Mom's House podcast. I love how into it she was. She just was all about it. And that's how it gets you. All you have to do is watch the first couple episodes of any of my series and you realize that I'm just telling the truth. I have nothing to hide here and I'm happy to let somebody else on if they'd like to dispute it. That's why when House of Habit reached out and I thought it was well-meaning, I was like, if Jessica Mann wants to say we've got something wrong, we are not interested in smearing her or libeling her. I'm just reading Homegirl's emails. That's all. Allie writes, best way to tell if a media source is not credible when they refer to Candace as a right-wing conspiracy theorist based in misinformation. Happy to see you're feeling better. Yeah, I'm operating at about, I would say 70% today, not 100%. I still can't like eat a full meal, but I'm feeling better as in I got a little IV and at least I've got fluids in me, which is great. The Deidre Experience writes, hypothetically speaking, if Ryan were gay, why would he seemingly be so incensed and jealous over Blake's interaction and feelings and concerns over Justin? I actually thought that was more a symptom of his like type A control than anything else, where like he's created a certain life for himself. And I think he has spoken about his control issues and how they began to manifest because of his bad relationship with his father. And I think he has daddy issues like all around. Even he probably has a weird daddy vibe relationship with Hugh Jackman. Didn't do Hefman. See, I'm learning, you guys. I slow it down now when I say Hugh, but I think he probably likes that Hugh is older and feels like he, I don't know, gets some sort of, I don't know how to say it, like advice from him. Like he's like a mentorship from him that he is lacking because he never solved his issues with his father. I'm not a psychoanalyst, don't want to be one, but that's just me guessing and riffing here. ASMR Random says, first, I want to start off by saying I love you and Christ is King. Did you hear about the bio women only gym being open in London? The trans community is planning to destroy and riot once it opens. I did not hear about that, and I will have to look into that. That's crazy that women are not allowed to have spaces anymore. I think it is totally fine for there to be an all-male space and totally fine for there to be an all-women space, and totally fine if a trans person wants to decide that there's going to be a space that's just for them. I think that should be totally fine. I have an issue that it's always about destroying women's spaces. It doesn't make any sense to me. Moki writes, when I was younger, everything pointed toward me being conservative, but once I left my church and went to college, I was brainwashed. I used to hate you without even watching you. Now you're my fave content creator. Praise God. Thank you. I'm so glad. Like I say, if people watch my content as opposed to reading articles about my content, they tend to stick around and see that I'm pretty even keel. Even if you don't agree with me, like I'll tell you rationally why I think something, and then you're allowed to just be like, I don't agree, because you shouldn't agree with everything I say. But yeah, the media is problematic for sure. They turn everybody into like the devil, basically. They're like, she's Satan, she's terrible. And obviously they are extremely hyperbolic. And what they're really fighting for is control for themselves. And they're losing it. I think liars are losing big time this year. Chelsea Dominguez writes, I found the witness tree and ordered it. It was very expensive and there were only 4 copies on the website. Just received an email that they can't send it to me now. And the other books disappeared. Oh, wow. Wow. I am not shocked at all. Oof, we got to talk. I wish I had read that comment on tomorrow's show. Somebody sent me a PDF of it, and I have not started reading it because I've been dying the last 2 days, but I intend to start reading it tonight. So I'm going to dive into it. Why is the CIA all over this book, The Witness Tree? What am I going to learn? Gosh, Leah writes, Candace, your show is still top 10 on Spotify despite no show for 6 days. Woo! That's amazing. That means people are watching the old stuff. And yeah, I'm very grateful for you guys constantly downloading the podcast and listening to it and supporting the show and supporting us even when we're sick. And I know that we are kind of marching towards the plank here with maternity leave, and I'm going to miss you guys, but we will be back stronger than ever. We're already thinking about other series to do, maybe even doing a Becoming Brigitte Part 2, because it's just been so viral globally. And we could have never predicted the success of that. We have Harvey's case coming up, which again, I implore you to look into that, because I think House of Habit trying to get people not to watch Harvey Speaks is of interest, because she didn't mention her personal relationship with one of the quote unquote victims, Jessica Mann. Anyways, you guys, I am going to get some rest. For the book club people, I wanted to tell you, oh wait, by the way, we have new merch. Look how great our anti-feminist hats are. This is just, come on. This is great. It's fantastic. If you're listening to this in audio, I just put on an anti-feminist cap. It's white, it is pristine, it looks amazing, and you can get it at CandaceOwens.com or ClubCandace.com. ClubCandace.com, right? Yeah, I don't know, both probably all leads to the same place. And yeah, this is also happening. Somebody said, please do Brigitte too in the comments. Yeah, I think I didn't even like tap the surface of the Brigitte story. What could I have possibly shared that just totally made Joe Rogan realize by episode 2 that she was a dude? I mean, yeah, because everything you were told was a lie, and it's crazy how much the media can cover while attacking the people that are trying to tell the truth. All of it is just an absolute madness. Oh, I love this. Julie says she needs the hat. Yeah, Julie, you definitely need the hat, and I need rest. So whichever person was cracking the whip and sent you guys an email, I obviously had nothing to do with the email that got sent out yesterday saying that we would do the book club today. I cannot. I just need to recoup still and get a little bit of sleep. So I asked him to bump it to next week. I think the person was my husband. I think my husband said, oh, she'll be back tomorrow. And no, I love you, sweetheart, but I got to bump it to next week. I just a little bit of relaxation and sleep. And so I'm back to 100%. But thank you guys who are concerned. The real internet sleuths. Like, if anything happens, You're like, you don't know, but you know. And that's all that matters. We'll see you guys tomorrow.